Welcome to the second round of the Speed World Challenge and the Speed GT Championship at a very cold Mosport International Raceway, just a little bit north and east of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I'm Greg Kramer with Derek Daly, Calvin Fish down in pit lane. And Derek, it is very, very cold here. And I'll tell you, it is going to make racing very interesting. It's nice, it's sunny, but it's very, very cold indeed. Now, we want to take you back to a much warmer climb, and this is Sebring. Now, watch what happened here at the start. Contact, that's David Farmer. There goes Peter Cunningham. And the only guy that wasn't affected by this was Michael Galati, and he was gone. As a result, they said it was a runaway victory. He ended up getting a boost reduction, some weight added. The Acura was hit with some changes as well. Calvin Fish checked in with these two drivers earlier.
The extra 150 pounds isn't doing us any favors, and we're probably a good bit heavier than we were here last year, but we keep going back to the well and finding things here and there as they keep piling the penalties on us.
Well, I mean, I know as you say, they have a tough job, but they're trying to control, make all the car evens. But I think after the race at Sebring, it was a little bit odd because really it looked like we're dominating at Sebring, but it was not the truth. I mean, we had a great start, and after that, a bunch of guys that got together behind me. So I think if Peter had a good start, it was behind me, it would have been, if there was no wreck at turn one, it would have been a close race. But because of what they saw and the race, then they give us a penalty. I mean, that's the way it goes, I guess.
Yeah, it's a bit unfair, really. Michael goes and wins Sebring. They penalised him, and I get penalised too. I wasn't having too good a time at Sebring, so I've got to suffer the same fate, and that is, quite a weight penalty and also a reduction in boost. And I think really it was a rather overreaction. I know he went quickly in qualifying, and I don't think we'll ever know quite why he went so fast. He just did a brilliant lap and got it in just when he should have done. When it came to the race, of course, he led off the line. Our cars are so brilliant off the line with a quattro. And of course, you get to the first corners, loads of cars spinning, and I know that because I was in the midst of them all. I wasn't spinning at that point, but I managed to miss them. And it drops everybody back from him, and how many seconds it was, that's really how it stayed through the whole race. And Michael drove a very cool, great race up front. But of course, they overreacted, I think, in penalising us that badly, because I think if the race had run as a proper race, then he would have had a lot of challenges, and there wouldn't have been that apparent difference between his car and the cars behind.
The difficulty for the SCCA is they're trying to keep parity, trying to keep these cars as even as possible, so they add weight or take away horsepower, and of course anybody that gets the penalty hates it.
And keep in mind, those two cars at the end of last season had a lot of that rewards weight, which disappeared. They were concerned about that as well. Now, our focus goes to the track. Cars capable of speeds of 160 miles an hour here.
It's a very fast racetrack. It's a great classical old style of road course. Long, fast sweeping corners. Clayton Corner is one of the most demanding in North America. Moss Corner invites overtaking. In the Mario Andretti straight, you let it all hang out. Spectacular racetrack here.
And fast. That's the only way to put it. Let's take you to our starting grid. Michael Galati is 17th career pole, second in a row this season. Peter Cunningham, who was so strong here last year outside of the front row. Row 2, David Farmer, who has been on form. In fact, fastest at the end of the day Friday in practice in the inside of row 2. Row 3, Phil McClure and Johannes van Overbeck, who's been very quick as well. Row 4, Justin Marks in the Porsche, and Derek Bell struggling a little bit. He has terrible luck here at Mosport. Boris said that 8ER Mustang, and Mike Culver is in row 5. Row 6 is Mark Anderson and last year's Rookie of the Year, Bob Miller. Row 7 is Greg Merrill and Tim Weems. Row 8 is Craig Jelston and Brad Flowers. And then we show you row 9 is Jeff Wade and John Young. But once again, up front with a pole is Michael Galati and Cal.
Since winning round 1 at Sebring, Michael Galati's Audi S4 has had a boost reduction and 75 pounds of weight added to the car, but it didn't stop Michael yesterday from claiming the Woody's Ice Pole Award. Michael, I know you drove the wheels off the car, but these cold temperatures really seem to be aiding the Audi turbo engine.
That's true, Calvin, because the temperature is so low at the turbo, they like this kind of weather. So our Audi, it was fantastic. We had a beautiful balance, and the motor made a good power because of the condition. So we just pull it off.
Well, Michael's going for 2 in a row this season. A very familiar look to the front row. Starting alongside will be P.D. Cunningham in the Acura NSX. He's the defending champion here at Mosport Park, but a big surprise back on the second row. Starting third will be David Farmer in the Corvette. That Z06 engine working very well down these long, fast straightaways.
And of course, Calvin, the cold air helps every engine, but let's not forget P.D. Cunningham is running a supercharger on that machine as well. He's getting good grunts. We'll be right back for the start.
The Speed World Challenge is brought to you by Audi. In technology, performance, and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow. And by Toyo Tires, known for performance. Tires that fit you.
Welcome back as we are just about ready for the standing start here at Mosport. Now remember, Peter Cunningham last year after his dominant win said this car loves this track. So he may be well placed at the end of this one due to balance. Look at how cold it is. The fans absolutely wrapped up, whether young or old. They are in serious coats and hats.
That car may love this track, but this car, the Audi, loves these starts. Just have a look what might happen here. Let me guess.
Watch for it, and there's the explosion. And look at Derek Bell. Such a good start that he was going to run up the back of the Porsche, took to the grass to get around Farmer, trying to get under McMillan and hold on to his third as they sweep into turn one. There is John Young, who starts dead last. Didn't even get a time in qualifying due to some problems. But remember how quick he was at Sebring? We'll see if he's able to parlay that into a good finish here. Meanwhile, Galati already with that big lead on board with Derek Bell.
The Audis just get away like rockets. Derek Bell in 8th. Justin Marks was on the left-hand side. That's who went wide there. D. Bell comes down the inside, takes advantage.
Coming up on McClure. McClure a little wide there as they get into turn 4. And right there, Van Overbeek just rockets underneath McClure. Couldn't get around him in terms of Bell, and then Marks tucks in behind Bell. Back on board, sort of the roof cam here with Derek, and look at the run he gets coming out of Moss. That's pure grip.
Wow, McClure does not look happy here because that Corvette should not be that. He's in trouble. He's slow.
Yeah, he's just lost 2-3 more spots. And look at Boris Said. Boris, of course, back in the 9th spot. He is climbing up. We're on board now with Farmer and McMillan, who've been tailing him all the way down into Moss. Got a great run out of Moss and got by.
Audi, Acura, Corvette, BMW in the top 4. Porsche, 5 different makes in the first 5. And that's the parity thing we spoke about earlier on. Trying to keep all these different manufacturers about the same pace to give us some good racing and put it in the hands of the driver. Here's the downhill right-hander looking to fight with the steering wheel.
Johannes van Overbeek coming up now to that little rise and then that long arcing left-hand turn 2. Now these cars, as we talked about, Derek, capable of a lot more speed than the touring class of cars, and so the grip all the more important. Watch Van Overbeek through here. Meanwhile, we want to go back and take a look at Derek Bell's start. Watch what happens with the Porsche right in front of him.
I mean, Derek knows he's going to get a good start. He didn't quite anticipate the jump on board. Oh, look at the jump. So he has to take to the grass.
He doesn't get any positions because that was 81 was the car that stalled Van Overbeek, and Justin Marks, his teammate, went right by on the inside of Derek, so his position stayed the same. Meanwhile, watching the field stream through the long, swooping, undulating curves of this Andretti straightaway, almost a mile of absolute flat-out running out of Moss Hairpin.
Look at David Farmer. Looks fast. V8 engine is faster than the BMW. Didn't quite get enough of the pass made there, but has shown that at least he has considerable horsepower.
See the wiggle there by McMillan. So he's feeling the pressure. Farmer has been absolutely in the top 3 of the charts all weekend long. And as I said on Friday, Derek, he topped practice. This vet program has come to life.
Looks like he's carrying his school homework on the dashboard. Oh no, Boris has stopped again. How does this keep happening to Boris Said?
Boris says another reliability problem. Cal?
Well, Boris Said is into the pits with the AER Mustang. They've been having engine problems all weekend long, spitting belts off. They put a brand new engine in for the race, and Boris, you weren't sure how long the car was going to last. What put you out, mate?
Well, we've been having a problem all weekend where it's just spitting the belts off, and it's too bad because the AER Mustang is really fast up the straightaway, and this is unfortunate for all the guys, and We'll be back next week at Lime Rock, and hopefully we'll get the problem sorted out and we'll be able to give those guys a run for their money.
Reportedly, they've seen 165 miles an hour in the speed traps with this thing. That must be a flying machine.
Oh yeah, I mean this car, I mean AER can build a motor. This thing flies up the straightaway. But you got to remember, I mean this Mustang's an old car compared to these expensive Porsches and NSXs and all this stuff. So, you know, we gotta be really good somewhere. We're good up the straightaway.
Derek, I can't imagine driving this thing at 165 miles an hour. It must start to shake and rattle and roll there at the top of the hill.
Exactly, Calvin. And remember now, a Ford Mustang is basically something you can walk into the showroom and buy, and then you modify it to race here. But look at the side-by-side. Farmer makes a great move on Macmillan to take that third place. He threatened earlier on to make that move, and now he's got P.D. Cunningham firmly in his sights, and Galati, Greg, has not managed to inch away here.
Nope, Cunningham has kept it close. Farmer now third, McMillan Motorsports right there. Jeff McMillan in fourth. They head into turn 2 in the early going at Mosport. Welcome back to Mosport. There is your leader, Michael Galati, followed by the orange and white Acura of Peter Cunningham. Here is the battle for 6 right now. Derek Bell and Justin Marks driving one of the G&W Motorsports Porsches, teammate Johannes von Overbeck. And Bell has snuck back around Marks. You remember Marks got by, and then Bell got by him when he ran wide in 3, and these two guys have been in lockstep. Meanwhile, Van Overbeck, Marks' teammate, got a great run out of Moss, and that beautiful aero profile of that Porsche moving a lot less air than that blood nose of the BMW, and he picks it up.
And D. Bell loses the position also, so 2 teammates make 2 passes at the same portion of the racetrack, which suggests maybe a little horsepower advantage exiting off that last corner.
Like I said, maybe is it possible that it's the aero, because these Porsches are so slippery compared to the boxy shapes of the Audi and the BMW. That's gotta be a factor, I would think, at the end of that long straight.
Yeah, absolutely. Hear the tire squeal on Derek's car, turn 1. You run downhill a little bit, then into turn 2. Testicular fortitude stretched to its limits down through this long left-hander.
There's Derek Bell in the office. That's turn 3 he's coming into, and boy, constant input on that wheel.
We saw how physically difficult it is to drive these cars when we were on board with him at Sebring. Out of breath, hanging on. You see him glance in the rear view mirror and the side rear view mirror, just to make sure, keep in check as to where everybody might be.
That has to be an immense ballet coming down into Moss. As you drop out of turn 4, carrying a lot of speed, these guys are actually sliding the car sideways. They bottom there, got to brake, get down a couple of gears, get turned in. I mean, they have to be incredibly busy in that section of track.
And the key is you're actually balancing and drifting, particularly in medium to high-speed corners. You're drifting as you down change, and that's the fine line that great drivers can walk along. You know, how deep can you go? How much work can you do as you drift it down through the apexes? The good drivers can do it all the time and be mistake-free.
Well, it's interesting, the wisdom of the SCCA and those adjustments, if you will, on the Audi and the Acura looking awfully good right now, because an Audi leads, granted, with an Acura second, but that Vette right there and the Porsche right there, nobody is getting away.
Can't argue with this right here. This is parity at its best.
Oh, PD, a little bit of a run maybe there.
Oh, Michael Galati is under pressure here. He is definitely under pressure. We're accustomed to seeing him have a little cushion on the second or third place guy, but on board now with David Farmer. He sits back and he watches here. David Farmer enjoying his most competitive run of the season so far. David Farmer looks real good behind Cunningham and Michael Galati.
Remember Farmer, that Vette Z06 and that huge V8 horsepower, but the 2 cars in front on this cold day, both forced induction. The turbos on the Audi, the supercharger on the NSX, and also keep in mind that NSX, like the Porsche, a fair bit slipperier than the Audis and the BMWs. It's got to be helping Petey here. And Petey takes a look down the inside. That was pure speed, but he can't get it done, and Galati shuts the door.
Ooh, yikes. Again, the engine of the Acura is right in the middle. It should be a more nimble little racing car, so in the brake zones and as you turn to the apex, it should have an advantage.
on board with Johannes van Overbeek as he sits in fourth, applying an awful lot of pressure to David Farmer in the early going. We'll be right back to Mosport. We are back at Mosport. Michael Galati continues to lead from Petey Cunningham. There's a little bit of a margin now from Cunningham back to Farmer right there. Not a lot, mind you, and Farmer's got a little bit of breathing room over Van Overbeek. But Petey Cunningham, he gets through 9 very quickly and always shows the nose to Galati but can't get by. Let's go back to the battle for 12th, and that's Tim Weens and Greg Merrill, both on board Porsches, and these are two of the contenders for Rookie of the Year, Derek.
Remember, Greg Merrill at Sebring had a huge crash and just virtually destroyed his car, completely rebuilt for this round here at Mosport. So good to see Greg Merrill back, because he took quite a hit on that early laps at Sebring.
Now, both these guys ran a couple races last year, but they got in underneath the number of races per season that would force them to be considered veterans, so they're still able to run as rookies this year as we ride on board with Greg Merrill. And we've been talking a lot about temperature here, Cal. What's it like out there?
I tell you what, Derek, it feels like a cold day at Snetterton over in England here this weekend. I mean, unbelievable conditions. You can see I'm pretty wrapped up. It's hard to get the lips working in this condition. But some of the drivers talked about putting hot chocolate in their drinks bottle instead of water, try and stay warm out there. But the guys up front are certainly putting on a great show, and there's certainly hot action at the front of the field.
The Snetterton, Calvin mentions, is a much-used racetrack for club racing in the wilds of Norfolk, England. And every day you went there, you had to wear one of those silly hats that Calvin has on. Side by side for the lead here, boys.
Oh, and he's staying with them. Cunningham trying to force the issue around the outside there, side by side in 9. Galati, can he hang on at the inside at 10? And he does, and Cunningham has to tuck back in. But Farmer now swings low, drops the hammer. Some lap traffic almost caused Cunningham to lose a spot to Farmer. Cunningham able to squeeze through, but this action is absolutely fast and furious. Let's check in once again with Cal.
Well, David Farmer has just been in spectacular form here at Mosport Park this weekend, and he said since last year he's really been in a recovery mode. He had a massive crash at Road Atlanta in the final round of this 2001 season, trying to get the car back together. He went to Sebring, didn't see the performance he was looking for, because since last year that Z06 Corvette engine has had some upgrades. They've got a new valve train available to them, a lot more horsepower, and this weekend he's certainly putting it to good effect. And in fact, on Friday he's topped the time sheets, and that's the second time in 2 years that a Corvette has seen the top of any practice session, so that boy is on form.
Well, Calvin, he is applying a lot of pressure right now. That's forcing Cunningham to race even harder behind Galati, and it looks like Galati there at the exit of Moss Hairpin, he missed the apex. He may be out, either tires are going away or he's got just a nasty push.
I suggest these boys tighten up their seat belts here, because what we just saw with the side-by-side with PD, he's going to try and do it again here. This was side-by-side through 3 different corners. I didn't see any paint trade. Oh, Genie, it almost happened again.
PD decided to tuck back, try and get a little bit better line. Couldn't do it. And now Farmer thought about it, tried to sneak underneath going into 10. Couldn't make it work either. It is the proverbial blanket covering our top 3. A little bit further back is Derek Bell. Derek, how's it going?
Looks like young Justin spun in front of me. He'll be very disappointed in. He's learning a lot this year. Actually learned a lot last year. Very safe driver, very sane driver. Learning and getting better all the time.
And Derek would know he's been battling with Justin the entire race, but meanwhile Derek, that battle at the front continues to absolutely rage.
Yeah, the young Justin Marks, and for D. Bell to say anybody's doing a good job is quite a compliment, because D. Bell isn't shy about saying exactly what he thinks with drivers he's racing with. But this is good stuff here at the front. We have 5 cars now in a line here. Van Overbeek is right behind David Farmer. Farmer looks good, as does PD. Oh, he hits him. Didn't quite turn him around, but he hit him enough to get him sideways. And now it's side by side. That
was, I think, Marks going around at the back of the pack. So he's going to lose valuable time. But Petey, I don't know that he didn't mean to get into Galati. He was going to try and get underneath, and Galati protected. And he nudged him, but he's going to take advantage if he can.
And he's on the inside, side by side on the brake zone. PD has the advantage, but Farmer loses 3rd place to Van Overbeek.
Van Overbeek, you're right, knifed underneath Farmer. Farmer set up to try and
Van Overbeek almost hits him. I think he does hit him. Over the curb and sideways into Michael Galati. Hang on to your hollyhocks. Farmer is sideways.
Farmer absolutely flat tracking through 10. And that has allowed McMillan, all of this has allowed McMillan to move right back onto the tail of Farmer after he had dropped off the pace just a little bit. All of this action, this grinding, this curb hopping has brought McMillan right into the fray. 5 cars now duking it out for the lead. Now the question is, can PD get away and start to open it up? Early evidence indicates he might just do that as he's opened up a quick 6-7 lengths as we ride on board with McMillan into turn 3.
Wow, what a show for Jeff McMillan. He must have enjoyed this. Van Overbeek, I'm not sure whether he hit Michael Galati, but he came awful close. He took avoiding action, drove over the top of the curbs, and then David Farmer lost that position, but Farmer still looks threatening.
Moss hairpin, double apex, right there's the exit, and then this little left-hand bend, and you're launching onto the Andretti straightaway.
It's sane right now, but I have a feeling this is not going to stay very sane for very long.
Action heating up here at a chilly Mosport.
The Speed World Challenge is brought to you by the United States Army, an army of one.
Welcome back to Mosport. We go right to the battle for third, and that's Farmer trying to get underneath Van Overbeek, and boy, Van Overbeek left the door wide open going into 3, Derek, and Farmer jumped on it.
I don't think he could have stopped him. David Farmer pulled off a brilliant move in the brake zone. You could see the nose of the Corvette slam itself to the ground as he braked as late as possible to take over that rostrum position. Can he now move in on Michael Galati? And better still, can he stop P.D. Cunningham from inching away?
Well, you know, one of the things that's happened since the opening round at Sebring with a fair amount of time in between these 2 rounds is Farmer said that he basically completely rebuilt that car. Absolutely went through it piece by piece and has it working, but there's the aero effectiveness of that Porsche as Van Overbeek gets that run, but Farmer a little bit more entry speed into turn 8, able to shut the door.
It's obvious the Porsches do have the power down that long straight. Now remember at Sebring, we saw the highlight earlier, it was David Farmer who actually drop-kicked P.D. Cunningham and made him spin right in the middle of the pack, and unbelievably never got hit by anybody. We have 10 laps to go, and 5 of these guys are still all covered by a blanket here. This is good.
Well, Speed Channel, you can see we're not exactly in a great group anymore, but young Justin Marks was ahead of me, spun out, being a little cautious now he is, and somehow the old man's managing to stay with the young boy. Well, the young bull staying just ahead of the old bull. Normal scenario.
He's out of breath. He's out of breath again.
I'll tell you that obviously that racing at this level, and with Boris said talking about speeds of in excess of 160 miles an hour from essentially a production car. Yeah, they've been obviously tweaked intently. It's hard work driving these things as you go on board with Jeff McMillan. Look at the close corners action. That's Moss hairpin, and that's the roller coaster ride, just up and down, unbelievable.
Actually, what's fascinating about having Derek Bell give us the audio direct from the racing car, people think this looks easy sometimes. Driving racing cars is physically very difficult and mentally very difficult. Although on television, it doesn't quite look as difficult as it should sometimes.
Well, sometimes you see the onboard shots when they look back at the driver and the car's sideways here and there, the driver looks incredibly relaxed and everything. And if you're really in your zone, that's the look, but it's still very difficult work. And of course, just even though it's cold outside with the engine up front in some of these cars, a lot of heat in the cockpit, it's tough work. Athlete indeed describes these guys. Now, P.D. Cunningham had opened up a bit of a margin, Derek, but Galati has closed it right back up and Farmer's going with him.
It's a hard argument to make that they shouldn't have the weight or the reduction in horsepower for the Audi and for the Acura NSX. Look at David Farmer. Look how well he handled down through the left-hander. Actually, the middle of the apex.
There he goes.
Oh, he caught Galati, and now he tries to. Oh, he gets it sideways as he tries to force the issue.
He actually got that right front tire on that curb, and that loosened him up big time. But down through turn 2, we may be seeing, though, fair evidence of what that weight penalty is doing, both to Galati and to Cunningham. 150 extra pounds for Cunningham, 75 for Galati, and never before have we seen those heavier vets by virtue of the V8 engine be that nimble relative to these cars.
Yeah, David David Farmer looks to be absolutely on top of his game here this afternoon, though. He is being incredibly aggressive. He's not afraid to poke his nose down the inside. He has confidence in that Corvette because we have seen him now get sideways several times. He simply turns the wheel, hangs onto it, and stays with his foot planted on the power.
Yeah, aggression and just an absolutely superb drive as we go back on board with Derek Bell. Justin Marks just in front. And you can see that there's a bit of a gap in front of Justin Marks up to that battle in the front. But that battle up front is intense as Derek Bell takes us to a quick... The lead continues to be contested intensely here at Mosport. Cunningham leads it. Galati right there in second, Farmer third. And without their battling, once again, that margin from Farmer back is opening up. There's a fair gap back to Van Overbeck and McMillan. There they come. But the top three are pretty much on their own, back on board with Derek Bell. And as he said, the old bull is starting to close up on the young bull now.
He is. That's Justin Marks right ahead of him in the 911 Porsche. Closing in. Justin Marks made a mistake earlier, spun. Here the tire squeal. Oh, much faster on the turn to the apex.
Well, did he make up a lot of ground? Here's turn 9 once again. Quick jog to the left, set up. And through turn 10. This is important because turn 1, although it's fairly tight when you look at it, it falls away and you end up with a lot of speed. Boy, Derek takes a look right there.
Hard to do it right there. It's such a fast right-hander. But he's clearly quicker. He is clearly quicker than Justin Marks. He has closed in on him. And now it's a matter of decision as to where you might get close enough to poke your nose down the inside.
Bell sits 7th, Marks sits 6th right now. And this battle has gone on for quite some time here. And then, of course, up in front of them is that lead group for the top 5. Explains why we haven't heard a lot from Derek, as he's been absolutely busy and in this scrap.
Yeah.
I suppose you have to take that priority decision at some point. Do you chat or do you race?
You race. If you have time to chat, you chat.
And there you have it, folks.
Long back straight, leaders still running 1, 2, 3. The Acura, the Audi, and David Farmer still trying to close in. D. Bell, Galati's teammate. Boy, the frustrating thing for D. Bell, I'm sure, is you can close in on Justin Marks, but it's hard then to get that last 5 or 10 yards to try and make the move. Will lap traffic help either of them? No, I don't think so.
Flowers, and he obviously saw, well, he did. He moved out of the way, and he really didn't hold Bell up that much.
No, that was a good job by Brad Flowers to see the leaders coming behind. David Farmer now all over the back of Michael Galati. Oh, he tries down the inside.
That's where he made the pass for third. Now, does he make it work? That's turn 3 inside Galati.
Did he get him?
We'll see. He's given a lot of room. Well, he's got it. He has made the pass. He is now second, Galati third. Now the question is, does Farmer have the car to reel in Cunningham?
And it was a very similar pass that he made earlier. He lines him up. He brakes late, goes down the inside. You can see the Corvette again dips down under braking, but it was a very clean move on Michael Galati. And you posed the question, can he now do something about P.D. Cunningham as we look back at John Young, a man who we followed so closely in the Celine Mustang at Sebring.
He had problems in qualifying and started absolutely dead last. We know that car is fast, but Calvin, he's been picking his way through the pack.
Well, the rookie John Young is having a great run in that Celine SR. He finished 5th at Sebring, remember, and on Friday he broke a front spindle. In qualifying yesterday, he had big braking problems, so only put 1 lap together, hence he qualified dead last with a very slow lap time, but made his way from the back of the grid up into the top 10. And that Celine SR certainly has a lot of potential. Remember, a couple of years back, Terry Borscheller went on a tear with that car, winning some races.
Well, it makes great power, and Derek, when you look at the front of that car and with that new rear wing, that car perhaps makes better stick and downforce than any of the other cars out here.
And it just looks fast.
It does.
Just looks great, just looks fast.
That is a very, that's your proverbial muscle look to a muscle car. Young now trying to work his way up through the pack with that battle up front. That is still intense. We are back at Mosport on board with Jeff McMillan. Right in front is Johannes van Overbeck. That is 4th. McMillan is 5th. In front of them, but in the distance a little bit, is your lead trio. Still Petey Cunningham up front. Farmer now, though, into second, and, of course, Michael Galati sits in third. McMillan, sort of the same story we've seen with Derek Bell and Justin Marks. He gets very close. He just cannot figure out yet a way to get by.
The former champion is McMillan. Meanwhile, as you say, back up front. Oh, D. Bell down the inside. Oh, side by side. Can he hold it? The next corner is a right-hander. Can he stay down the inside? Yes, he does.
He makes it, but John Young behind them is coming like a freight train right now. Remember now that Bell has just taken 6th, with Marks now 7th. Young is 8th and is closing in a hurry. And Galati
in trouble.
Is he just off track? It's an awful lot of dust and debris in the air, and it looked like something coming off his car, and he's got damage. Look at the front nose.
Michael Galati. Oh, look at D. Bell takes the position back. Justin Marks and Derek Bell are just having an awesome battle here, all by themselves. And look at Young beginning to close in on these two.
Well, this is just what Young wants. These two side by side, slowing each other up, dive bombing into turns. Bell inside into Moss, and well, look at Mark stays with him now. Smartens up and lets Bell have it, but not before Young now has made this a 3-car battle for 6th.
Does Justin Marks know how famous Derek Bell is? Derek Bell has raced sports cars here at Mosport for so many years, has had so much success in sports cars, and still continues to battle it out here with the young boys.
Imagine what Justin Marks can say. Yeah, I had a nice scrap, pass and repass with a 5-time Le Mans winner.
Oh, yeah. This is a good fight here. Great. A lot of hard work, a lot of clean racing here with Derek Bell, Justin Marks, and Young now about to join the party.
Well, Young right there, just a couple of car lengths behind Marks. See what he's got here. I'll tell you, that V8 and that Celine makes some incredible power. Meanwhile, of course, we saw that possible moment by Galati. Let's go back.
Oh, man, look at this moment. Tears off the front spoiler, but Michael Galati was lucky. He barely missed the tire barrier. Very, very lucky. This is 4th place fight here.
He was right at the edge of that tire barrier, and there's a lot of concrete right there. There is Van Overbeek. McMillan has the bit well and truly, but also right there, I think, no, that's not Marks. That's the lap car that they just went by, but there's Galati in front of Van Overbeek, and with that splitter gone, what's that going to do to the downforce? That means a lot, doesn't it?
He's no longer a challenger for David Farmer now. The best he can do is hope that they can hang on to a podium position here and hold off Van Overbeek and Jeff McMillan. McMillan driving probably one of the nicest competition BMWs anywhere around. Just a gorgeous car.
Fit and finish on that is superb, and it is also extremely quick. He has not been able to find a way by Van Overbeek. But the both of them right now are making inroads into the damaged Audi of Galati. Meanwhile, this is the battle now, and it's down to just 2. Cunningham, there's Farmer, and there's lap traffic up front. It's a ways away, but we're getting down near the end of this one.
And David Farmer is beginning to close in. He is definitely closing in on P.D. Cunningham. He came from 4th to 3rd, now to 2nd. Jeff Wade is right in front of P.D. Cunningham, so Jeff Wade hopefully will see these two boys coming, move out of the way, give them the room they need to race.
Down into Moss, and there goes Petey underneath. Oh, and Wade! No! Wade comes across. I think he was trying to get out of the way. Now Wade does it again. Knifes across Petey's nose, and Farmer just blows by.
Oh, no.
Oh, and look at it. Petey shaking his fist. I really think Wade was trying to get out of the way, but there's a great lesson. Never change your line. Drive your racing line. Let the overtaking drivers figure out the way to go by. Petey had a plan, and Wade stepped right onto the welcome mat.
PD is absolutely livid. David Farmer now has 10 car lengths, well, maybe 5 car lengths. And now the pressure starts for David Farmer here, because he has driven this thing so hard. Oh, to catch up with Petey, and he gets it sideways. Greg, has he run the rear tires off this thing?
Well, we've seen him in the last few laps. He has been definitely a little loose on acceleration out of some of the corners. He may have used it up. The question is Cunningham now, does he have the car left, and does he have the focus to run down Farmer? He'll be back. Continues to lead. Cunningham has in fact closed it up just a little bit, but not enough. He's still about 3 or 4 car lengths adrift to Farmer right now, as opposed to that 5. Makes up some ground under braking there. Now, of course, the Vette, because the V8 runs a little heavy, tends to be a little harder on tires and brakes than the Acuras and the Audis, but now with those weight adjustments, I don't know. Petey may have used that Acura up a bit.
Okay, forget the brakes and the tires now, David Farmer. Drive that thing into the ground if you're going to try and win this thing. Meanwhile, the battle for third. Galati is back now, back into 5th place. Petey! Oh, down the inside. Can he hold him off? Can he close the door? Yes, he squeezes him. Man.
Oh, and Farmer goes into protect mode right there into 9. Normally he has that little wider arc. He made sure that Petey didn't counter and try and just straight line into turn 9. Smart move by Farmer, and it kept Petey behind him and cost Petey some momentum.
Tell me this, when was the last Corvette to win one of these GT races?
2000. It's been 2 years since a Corvette has a win here. This could be huge for Chevy, the Corvette model, and of course the Z06. Bill Cooper was the last winner in a Vette. Long time ago. Chevy folks are on the edge of their seats.
Here's the brake zone again for Petey Cunningham. Can he close up? He seems to close up just a little bit. Not too much there, though. These cars are so evenly matched now. So evenly matched. 1.5 laps for David Farmer to hold on to maybe his very first World Challenge win.
Well, Petey can do is just hound him, apply immense amounts of pressure, hope there's a crack in Farmer's armor. Oh, and he got squirrely. Wow. Exactly what we're talking about, and he does it again. But it's all right in front of Cunningham, and Cunningham not able to take too much advantage. Although Petey closer at the exit here than he's been in a while. Here he goes.
Farmer is all arms and elbows as he tries to hang on and hold off Petey Cunningham. Cunningham, a multiple winner. Farmer has never won one of these races yet.
And Farmer right down the middle of the track. Got it a little hot. Petey looked underneath. Farmer able to hang on to it. Now watch this. Right there, and again, Farmer absolutely straight lines into 9, Derek. His defense is superb.
Oh, here's another one. Oh, will he touch him? The white flag is out. Petey, remember, touched Galati earlier on and made the pass. David Farmer at Sebring drop-kicked and put Petey off the road. Will they be clean, and can Farmer hang on?
This is Peter Cunningham's record start in the series. Keep in mind, this is his 93rd start. He has more starts than anybody else. He knows how to handle pressure, and he knows how to heap it on. But right now, Farmer has actually opened the gap up just a little bit. Petey changes his line into 3, makes up some of that ground. Exit of 3, down into the very dicey turn 4 and 5. Now remember, Derek, it was turn 5 the last lap where Farmer got pretty loose.
The Metric Chemical Corvette. He has less than half a lap to go. He can sense it. That's where he was sideways earlier on under power. Still a tiny bit of oversteer under the V8 horsepower as he gets along this long back straight here.
That was about as perfect, I think, as you could take Moss, and he did it with the best in the business right behind him. So now, along with just a couple of bends of this long winding Andretti straight, he's got 2 corners. Here he comes.
Petey is not close enough.
Nope.
No, he's not close enough. If Farmer stays clean, he's going to take the checkered flag.
Petey's closing, though. He's made it up a little bit. And the heroics into turn 10. It's got to happen. Not there. Petey going to try and cut the angle up a little bit, but Farmer rolls onto the throttle, and Corvette back in winner's circle after a 2-year absence. Petey Cunningham in 2nd, and let's watch for 3rd. Van Overbeek and McMillan and Van Overbeek. Enough. McMillan 2 wheels in the dirt, and he has to settle for 4th behind Van Overbeek.
And did Michael Galati even stay on the racetrack? We don't know yet because he was dropping back. Yes, in fact, Galati will finish 5th. Here's a battle over 6th place.
Oh, Young and Marks side by side. Marks way off track. Young a tank slapper, and Marks actually gets into the tires. Bell coming by. It's a drag race, and Bell picks the spot up over Marks. Bell gets 7th, and Marks gets 8th. Wow. They have transponders, and that's the way timing and scoring shows it.
Hang on to your Hollyhocks. Meanwhile, David Farmer enjoys his victory lap. Boy, he will remember every lap of this race. He was in the thick of the battle every minute of the afternoon.
I was going to ask you about that. Your first win in a major category of racing, you've been there. What does that feel like?
Oh, when the laps wind down, you got 2 or 3 to go, you begin to get the shivers down your back because the emotion, the excitement of it all the hard work begins to get paid off, and you hope you don't make a mistake.
And then the emotion lets go on this cool-down lap. And when we come back to Mosport, Calvin will be able to talk to a no doubt very emotional winner.
The Speed World Challenge is brought to you by Toyo Tires, known for performance. Tires that fit you.
Well, I was at Charlotte back in the year 2000 when we last saw a Corvette hit victory lane first, and David Farmer, a great run out there this afternoon.
Yeah,
Tell us about it.
I don't know what to say. I mean, I was dicing it up with Van Overbeek at the beginning, and finally got clear of him. And the Audis were really fast in a few spots, slow in a few. I finally got a lucky break, and then Petey got a really bad deal on a lapped car, and I snuck by. And
tell us a bit more about that. This actually got you the road gain, hair-raising move of the.
We came out of 5B down there. There was a car in the middle of the track. One of us went one way, the other went the other, and the slow car picked the right guy. So.
You said it was a long winter with the damage that you suffered at Road Atlanta, and you rebuilt the car over the winter, and you didn't go to Sebring and get the result you were looking for, but it's all come good here.
Oh yeah, we had a great weekend. Things couldn't have been better anywhere. So it's been a really nice weekend.
Congratulations, great performance out there.
Thank you.
We'll take a look at our final results, and David Farmer came by this one honestly. He not only got the fastest lap of the race, it is a new track record, and it's faster than they qualified.
It was a great run, but you know what? The man who finished 6th, John Young, I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more of him as this season rolls on.
What a remarkable performance there, and once again, as you'd expect, Calvin, Petey Cunningham right in the thick of things with a second.
Well, Petey Cunningham was going for 2 in a row here at Mosport, and once he got by Michael, it looked like a win was on the cards, Petey, but that Corvette came out of nowhere.
Yeah, he was coming the whole time, and I was pretty used up by the time he was anywhere near, and I thought maybe I could hold him off, but he was coming a ton. And then a lap marker got in the way. You know, he was just trying to get out of the way. He wasn't trying to screw anybody up, but, you know, he was going exactly where I was planning to go to get around him, and it really just cost me a bunch of time that lap. The Corvette got by, and we tried to keep him honest there at the end, but he had the tire, the downforce, and the motor. So
tell us about that extra 150 pounds that you've got on the car. You said I was overworking the tires a little bit in practice and qualifying. Was it an effect over the long race?
Yeah, I mean, even before I got by Michael, I was already junk on the front. But you know, just have to slow down a little bit when that happens and keep the tire underneath it. You can't just drive through the understeer. But you know, this thing is very heavy now, and with these poker chips we have for tires, it's not working.
Okay, well, certainly that title chase is tightened up here. Galati and Cunningham, we believe, separated by just a single point.
Well, Calvin, we're going to take a look at those points right now. And in fact, they're tied. Cunningham and Galati dead even at 58. 8 back of them is now Farmer. Jeff McMillan another point behind Farmer. And then John Young doing an awesome job. But keep in mind this cool air, great for speed, but it's thick, and the Porsche is getting through aerodynamically very well. Cal, you're with Johannes van Overbeek.
Well, there's a great battle there for that final position on the podium. Finally, the Porsche of Johannes van Overbeek came through, but McMillan gave it everything he had there, even up to the final corner.
McMillan was giving me fits the whole time, but the G&W Flextronics Brocade Shoreline car just worked great, and took everything I had to stay in front of him. He was just hounding me, absolutely hounding me. But it was clean between us. He got around me once, I got back, and it was definitely a good race.
Good clean race. Congratulations.
Thanks, Calvin.
Well, Calvin, we also want to take a look now at the Rookie of the Year points. We alluded to the battle as the race unfolded. John Young leads it now with 42 points. Based on that great drive, he is indeed, as Derek said, going to be somebody to watch. Michael Culver is second with 35. Tim Weens third with 28. Brad Flowers fourth with 22. And Greg Merrill fifth with 20 points. Now we want to show you the manufacturer's points. Acura 3 points up with 14 over Audi with 11. BMW is third with 8. Porsche is in fourth with 6. And Celine is in fifth with 3 points. Now, Derek, we want to jump ahead now. Next race coming up is Lime Rock, a track that, as we said, very important in terms of speed and momentum, but power not quite the issue.
Yeah, Greg, methinks by what we saw today, with these cars looking as even as they are now, and as we go to low speed or medium speed or high speed racetracks, I think we have the potential for the best GT series that we've had for years, and I can see these boys bouncing and bashing off each other from here to the end of the season.
I certainly hope so. It sounds exciting. You're not going to want to miss the coverage here in Speed. Coverage of Lime Rock Saturday, June 8th, starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on Speed. We will see you then. Take care, everybody.